Stage cautions will likely be permanently returning to road courses in 2024, and the Auto Club short track is still expected to be built. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Earlier today, NASCAR had their State of Sport address, and there was a lot of very interesting details that came out about the State of Sport address. So today, we're going to talk about everything that came out from that State of Sport address. The State of Sport address always happens every year near the end of the year on the final race of the NASCAR season, always during the weekend. So let's go and talk about some of the most important key points from the State of the Sport address. The first thing started off with Steve Phelps saying that NASCAR is the best sport in the world and has a very good sport at the moment. I wouldn't say NASCAR is the best sport. I would say it's probably definitely the best motorsport for sure, but I would not go as far to say as the NASCAR is the best sport in the world. Now, they said this was the best motorsport in the world. I would entirely agree when it comes to competition, among other things, and when it comes to diversity, all that kind of stuff, I would agree when it comes to that side of the schedule. The next thing that got a lot of controversy, though, was talking about the playoff format. And it was continued by Steve Phelps saying that the playoff format is not gimmicky. That is absolutely wrong in my honest opinion. There's a lot of things about the playoff format I do like, and there's a lot of things about the playoff format I don't like. Number one, I think at least the current format we had is probably the best format we've had. It's probably since the Winston Cup era. But there's a couple major things I do not like about this current playoff format. Number one, and one of the big reasons why it's too gimmicky is because of the one race championship between four drivers. In my honest opinion, it should be not one race that decides a champion. It should be 2 or 3 races where you have 4 drivers compete. If you want to have 4 drivers compete for the championship, that is absolutely fine. But having only one race to decide, in my opinion, it's too unpredictable and it's really, really bad. The other thing is a win-and-earn system. I do not like the win-and-earn system, in my opinion. I think you should not be able to be locked into the playoffs based off win. Especially in the playoffs, you should not be able to lock yourself in the next round based off of a win. That's one thing I would love to change to the playoff format. I do love the stages. I do like the fact that you do award points throughout the race, and I do agree that that should continue. But in my honest opinion, I'm not a major and a big fan of the playoff format. The next thing that was talked about was sellouts. And according to what Steve Phelps said, sellouts for this year are up 50% compared to 2022. I do agree, Steve Phelps. I think sellouts have been up. You look at a lot of races this year. This past weekend in Montreal, you had a huge sellout crowd. The championship race sold out. I think Gateway sold out this year. The Daytona 500 sold out. Pocono, Michigan, I think Darlington sold out for the Southern 500 earlier in the year. There have been a lot of races that have sold out this year, and it's been really good to see that a lot of people have been showing up to the racetrack and a lot of fans have been able to show up to the respective races. The next big talking point was about the TV rights and when it comes to the upcoming TV deal, which we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this on either Tuesday or Wednesday. But according to what they said, there's tremendous interest in TV rights, though he thought the deals would be done by now. Obviously, NASCAR is still not agreed to a TV deal or a charter deal at this current moment, but it sounds like we're getting closer and closer to having a TV deal done, and they're hoping to have this deal done in the not-so-distant future. A lot of talk is that Fox and NBC are going to return on the next TV deal for 2024, but it sounds like there's a good chance possibly that this TV deal hopefully will get done really, really soon. We'll talk about some of the comments later this week about Fox, and it looks like they're really wanting to return in 2025 for the next TV deal. We all thought it'd be done in the middle of the summer, then it got pushed back to Labor Day, and it keeps getting pushed and back, but it sounds like we're getting closer and closer to a TV deal being done. Now we get to the next big point that brought a lot of conversation as well, is what Steve O'Donnell said. Steve O'Donnell says NASCAR will continue to look at short tracks, and drivers in Goodyear were expected to meet later today. It's no secret that the short track and road course product in NASCAR at this particular moment right now is not acceptable for racing standards. There's a lot of things that need to be done. I think that they could be better because in the Gen 6 era, the short tracks and the road course product was very, very good. But unfortunately, right now, the short track and the road course product hasn't been good. Now, I will say Martinsville was definitely a right step in the right direction. There have been a couple good races on the road course that have been pretty good, but I think a lot of races this year have not been as good or as great because I think the next-gen car still has a lot of work to do. The car is too far below the ground, and they got to get that car a little bit off the ground and off the racetrack to where they can make it a lot better. The next thing that was talked about was what they could do in regards to fixing the short track issues. And according to reports, NASCAR is open to everything, including increasing horsepower. But we'll first look at shifting an underbody in the short term. I appreciate that NASCAR is potentially looking at horsepower, but I'm not surprised they're not immediately going to horsepower because NASCAR has been a little hesitant to increase the horsepower. But they're looking at the shifting in the underbody. There are three big things wrong with the short track package. The first step they got right was the tires. The next thing you need to do is work on the shifting in the underbody. One of my biggest gripes and problems I've had with the next-gen car from the get-go on the short tracks and the road courses has been the shifting. This car was basically an IMSA car that was brought to the short tracks, and it works way too good for the short tracks and the road course where you can't bump and bang. The shifting in the underbody are a big thing because it creates too much aero on those parts of the cars. So they absolutely need to continue working on that to make the product a lot better. But I hope that NASCAR does increase horsepower. I think if they increase horsepower from 670 up to 750 or even 770 horsepower, I think you are going to get a much better racing product. Will NASCAR do that? I'm not entirely sure at this particular moment, but NASCAR maybe in the future could increase the horsepower. That's one thing they absolutely need to work on going into the future. Then the next thing that was brought up, I'm not seeing a lot of people mention, is about Iowa and Montreal. And Steve O'Donnell says that Iowa is not the replacement of Montreal, says there's still interest in regards to Montreal. And there was a report that came out earlier today from Adam Stern that we're going to talk about on Tuesday or Wednesday later in the week. But interestingly, there have been a lot of talk and conversations that Iowa was a last-minute addition because of Montreal. But there have been talks about maybe bringing Iowa and Montreal onto the NASCAR schedule in the same time frame. Montreal actually come really close to being on the schedule for 2024, but unfortunately, that did not get approved, and there was no chance of that happening for 2024, simply because of one big reason, and one big reason only, because of the Olympics going on, and also F1, when they moved their dates a little bit earlier in the year. The weekend that NASCAR wanted to do it, from what I understand, was going to be the weekend that Formula 1 was going to happen. And NASCAR, Formula 1, it seems like they really don't get along in some essences. So that's a major, major reason why they unfortunately were not able to get that on the schedule for 2024. There's even some uncertainty about Montreal coming on the schedule in 2025. But we'll have to wait and see what happens when it comes to that. The next big talking point was about Auto Club, and this is one of the bigger points I want to talk about from the State of Sport address. A report that NASCAR is still planning to build Auto Club Speedway's short track, but there's no timeline in regards to Auto Club Speedway's short track being built. If you've been paying attention throughout the week, Alan Bailey put out a tweet in regards showing some photos of the demolition that is going on. Now, again, there's some people saying it's not going to happen, and there's some people that are saying that the short track is going to eventually end up getting built. If you want my honest opinion in regards to Auto Club getting built into the future, I'm not entirely sure if Auto Club is going to get built at this particular point, because I do believe that Auto Club does, in fact, need to get built. Again, we'll see what happens in regards to that, but it sounds like right now that there's a little bit of uncertainty about Auto Club getting on the schedule. We'll have to, when it comes back, if it does come back, it'll be 2025 or 2026. There's kind of a hold up on that, basically, because of the building procedures and all that kind of stuff. Nonetheless, it's interesting, and they're still talking about bringing Auto Club on the schedule, but I think right now the future of Auto Club Speedway is currently uncertain at this particular moment. The next big point of this video is stage brakes. I want to spend a lot of time talking about stage brakes here. So, according to what Steve O'Donnell said, stage brakes are likely continuing in 2024 on road courses permanently. I am not a fan of this move of bringing stage brakes back on road courses permanently. And here's why I am not a fan of it. Stage brakes on road courses and stages are not the problem at road courses. I actually enjoyed a lot of the races that did not have the stage brakes. I think stage brakes completely ruined the strategy of road courses. So having stage brakes during road course races completely ruins the strategy. If you want to have them on oval tracks, fine. You can absolutely do that. But the fact that you're talking about bringing stage brakes back on the road courses permanently again in 2024 is just unacceptable. NASCAR did not confirm that, but it sounds like they're likely returning once again in 2024 on the road courses. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a really, really bad move, in my honest opinion. Next, let's talk about electric cars, because there had been a report a year ago about a potential of electric car coming into the sport. Now, an electric car apparently has been developed, and Steve O'Donnell did say that he's actually going to be headed out to Japan to be looking at some talks, because there's some talks about new manufacturers, among other things, where there could be a new manufacturer coming into play in the future. And electric cars are a thing they're looking at. Obviously, NASCAR does have to eventually get to the times, but they are talking about an electric car, and they're working on something as we speak. Again, Steve O'Donnell said he's going to be headed, I think, to Tokyo, Japan. We're headed out to Japan on Thursday with a group of individuals to work on that. So, that is going to be everything from the State of Sport address. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links go below that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about today's video? Do you think the Auto Club short track is still going to be a thing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And what are your thoughts about stage breaks potentially returning in 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Later today on the channel, we're having the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship video on the channel. And then tomorrow, of course, we have the NASCAR Cup Series Championship video on the channel. Then on Monday, we're going to have a silly season update dropping on the channel. Tuesday, we'll have probably a ranking of every single NASCAR race for 2024 or NASCAR news video. There could be NASCAR videos throughout the next couple days. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.